Hi, welcome to another video. Today, my name is Cara. That's every day. Today we are filming my Believeathon Ii Tbr. I've already attempted to film this once. It was a hot freaking mess, so we're redoing it. I wasn't even telling you authors' names. Like, that's how bad it was. Real bad. So Believeathon is a readathon focusing on middle grade books, and it is hosted by Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin, and it's running from the 11th of May for the 2 weeks after that. So it's a 2-week long readathon, and in those 2 weeks I'm going to attempt to read like, I want to try and get to like 30 middle grade books. Might not happen. That's like more than 2 books a day. But quite a lot of these I have available on audiobooks. My idea is to try and read 1 audiobook and 1 physical read every single day, and then try and fit in some extra ones on the weekend. I don't know if it's actually possible, but I have a lot of things here. There is a path to follow for the actual like prompts for the readathon. And the like minimum you can do is 5. So I've picked 5 books for prompts. And then I have a whole bunch of other books that don't specifically fit prompts that I'm just gonna read. Or try to read, if that makes sense. So they're not particularly fitting to a prompt, but I'm just gonna work on them. So to follow the prompts, the first spot to be on the map, there's a map, did I say there's a map? Is The Poacher's Pocket Inn, which is a book that is first in a series. And for this I'm going to be reading A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. I'm going to keep my synopses pretty brief for these because honestly a lot of them I don't know that much, but this is about 3 sisters trapped by an ancient curse and 3 magical objects with the power to change their fate. It's got a sequel. I also should say my plan is if I give any of these a high 4 or 5 stars, like if I really enjoy them, I'm gonna buy them, but most of them I don't have physically. So, but yes, this is one of the ones that I'm anticipating will be 5 stars, and if it is, I'm gonna buy it. But I currently have it available on audiobook from my local library, so we're gonna listen to this one on audiobook. I'm so excited. I don't know that much about any of these really, but I'm so excited. The second spot on the path is Baba Yaga's House, which is something featuring a family relationship. And for that I'm going to read Artemis Fowl and the Arctic Incident, which is by Ian Colfer, which is book 2 in the Artemis Fowl series. I'm including this as a familiar relationship because kind of the premise of the plot of Artemis Fowl is that he's trying to find his dad who's been missing. So that kind of familiar relationship. This one is Artemis Fowl broadly is about a teen mastermind who captures a fairy to steal their fairy secrets, and this is book 2. So the next step on the path is The 100 Acre Wood, a book with yellow on the cover, and for this I'm going to be reading The Mystery of the Clockwork Sparrow by Catherine Woodfine. This is the first in the Sinclair Mysteries, which is a middle grade mystery series. I'm super into middle grade mystery at the moment, so I'm really excited to read this. I don't know much about the actual like premise or plot, but it's like a 4-book series, and then there's a spin-off with currently 2 books out. I'm so excited. It has yellow in the windows on the cover, as you can see. Then the next spot on the path is The Brolly Rails, so something with transportation on the cover. And for this I'm going to be reading First Class Murder by Robin Stevens. This is also a middle grade mystery, part of the Murder Most Unladylike series, and this one is obviously set on a train, so that's why it's got transportation on the cover and is part of like the theme of the book. This is the 3rd book in the series and I've been loving it, the series. So I love that they're actual murder mysteries, not just mysteries. There's murder in a middle grade. I love it. Then the 5th step in the path is The Bookkeeper Stronghold, for which I'll be reading a sequel, or just to read a sequel. And for this I'll be reading Gigantus by Thomas Taylor, which is the sequel to Malamander. I have this ordered at my bookstore and it'll be coming in. It comes out like 5th or 7th of May or something, and they expect to get it on the day of release. So I'll definitely have this before the start of the readathon. Malamander is a kind of like creepy fantasy set in a little sleepy English town. And we follow Herbert Lemon, who runs the Lost and Found at the hotel, and Violet Palmer, who was a lost child that was handled by the Lost and Found when she was a baby. So I don't really know much about the plot of Gigantus, but it still follows Herbie and Violet, I believe. So now let's get on to like this huge list of everything else that I could possibly read during the month. First off, we have Tilly and the Book Wanderers by Anna James. This is the first in the Pages & Co series, and I'm pretty sure the characters can like travel into books and things can come out of books. I think. That's about all I know. This is another one I have high hopes for, and I might purchase it if it's amazing. I mean, the Clockwork Sparrow too. I could, like, literally all of these, if I love them, I'm gonna buy them. But I'm like holding back until I know I'm gonna love them. Because I don't want to just buy a bunch of middle grade and then unhaul it because I just felt mediocre about it. So Tilly and the Book Wanderers is on my list. Then we have a book I actually have physically out from the library, and that is Dragon Pearl by Yoon-Ha Lee. This is a Rick Riordan Presents book, which is his middle grade collection where he's supporting own voices authors to write mythology-based middle grades based on their own culture. So this is a Korean sci-fi book based on like the Dragon Pearl myth. I don't know that much about it other than it's middle grade and sci-fi, but I'm so excited. This is also going to count for Asian Readathon, which is happening during the month. Then we have The Year We Fell From Space by Amy Sarah King, which is also A.S. King. I don't know that much about the actual plot of this. I have this also out from the library. Give me the info. I want to know the info. So this says it's a middle grade novel, delightfully moving story of 12-year-old budding astronomer Liberty as she makes sense of her life through the stars. Apparently it's pretty sad, as A.S. King generally is. It's a little bit of mystical, like fabulism elements and a lot of emotion, often grief. So I'm really excited about this. It's pretty short. Then another one I have physically, we have Sal and Gabby Break the Universe by Carlos Hernandez. This is another Rick Riordan Presents and is based on Cuban, I think, actually. Yeah, so this is a Cuban fantasy or like contemporary fantasy, and I believe Sal and Gabby literally break the universe. This is a duology, but I don't really know that much about the actual like inside content. I got this from my library again. Both this and Dragon Pearl are nominated for the BookTube SFF Awards, so I wanted to get my hands on these. Like before the lockdown happened, I brought these out from the library for that, so I'm definitely going to try and read both of those in the month. Then we have Winterhouse by Ben Gooderson. This is another middle grade fantasy. It's set in a magical hotel full of secrets, so I think it's like a magical-ish fantasy mystery, and I'm going to be listening to this on audiobook. Oh, that looks so good. Again, this is another one I have super high hopes for. The Wizards of Once by Cressida Cowell is also on my list. This is by the author of How to Train Your Dragon, but it's like more witchy, spooky. I don't really know that much about the plot, but it looks so good. And the narration is done by David Tennant apparently, so I'm excited. We also have Amelia Fang and the Unicorn Lords, which is book 2 in the Amelia Fang series. I read the first one like last month, the month before, and really enjoyed it. It's super fun. It reminded me a lot of an Australian series I read when I was younger called A Fairy Named Freddie, which is like an 8-book series of like short stories and then full-length novels that are like fun fantasy romps, and it follows like a normal girl and her friend who's a fairy, and their other friend who's a prince that's been turned into a frog, but he'd rather be a frog, so he stays as a frog. It's just so much, that series is so much fun, and Amelia Fang reminds me of that, but like the creepy version. It's like all those creepy cartoons of the like 90s and early 2000s. The Sun just came out, oh my god, and Amelia Fang is a vampire and her family's are all vampires, but they all don't like drink human blood and they're scared of the daytime. That's like the night. They have daymares about the daytime. You know what I mean? It's so cute. So I'm excited to read book 2 in that. It's also super short. I'm also going to be reading Brightstorm by Vashti Hardy, which is it's book 1 in the Skyship Adventures. They're twins. Their famous explorer father has died in a failed attempt to reach the southernmost point in the world. So they go looking for him. That's like all I know. But Vashti Hardy has a good reputation. And there's lots of her books that I'd be interested in reading. So I'm really excited to have a look at that one. We have The Mysterious Howling by Mary Rose Wood. This is book 1 in the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place. It's a short audiobook as well. I don't really know that much about the plot, but they look super fun. The info is not coming up on Scribd, so I can't check for you. But I've had these saved to my Scribd for ages, so I was just like, well, perfect opportunity to read those. It's, yeah, like an 8-book series. Another book I happen to have physically that I grabbed off my shelf because it's a middle grade is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. This is the first in his spin-off series from the Land of Stories series. And this I think is a historical, I'm not 100% sure. It is, I believe, like in the same universe, but maybe a different world. I don't know, but I love Chris Colfer's books. I've read all of the Land of Stories. So when this came out, I picked it up. I know the sequel is coming out sometime this year, but I haven't actually like read this yet. So we're excited to read it. Plus, like the window to the hardcover underneath is just so cool. Next up on my potential reads list, we have Jane Doe and the Cradle of All Worlds by Jeremy Lachlan, which is the first book in the Jane Doe Chronicles. I think this might be an Australian series. It's like a blockbuster adventure. It looks very like Indiana Jones-esque. I'm so excited for that. Like, it just sounds so cool. We also have The Land of Raw by Jenny McLaughlin. I don't know much about the plot of this either, but it's short and it has dragons on the cover. This one's an audiobook on Scribd as well. I also have on this list Rumble Star by Abby Elphinstone, which is the first in a trilogy of the Unmapped Chronicles. And apparently they all feature like different sets of characters, but it's like super adventurous and super fantastical. I don't know, Gavin recommended this so highly, I just like audio added it to the list. I also have on here Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Munn, which looks like a Snow White and Red Rose retelling. It's super short. It looks really good. Skeleton Keys Book 1, The Imaginary Friend by Guy Bass is also on this. This is a short audiobook. It looks really creepy and eerie. When I was looking for the Amelia Fang audiobooks, this popped up as something kind of similar. Amelia Fang's by Laura Ellen Anderson, which I don't think I said. But yeah, so The Unimaginary Friend by Guy Bass is on this list. I'm also hoping to read the first of the Everyday Angel books by Victoria Schwab. It's a bind-up of 3 like I think it was like they're like scholastic books where they kind of the author like writes to fill like a prompt for sale, like a writing for hire. And so these recently got repackaged in a bind up, but I'm only going to read book 1, which is called New Beginnings, and I believe she's like a guardian angel, the main character. That's like all I know. We also have on here The Land of Yesterday by K.A. Reynolds. I know Paige is also planning on reading this. Do I know much about it? Not at all. A tender and fantastical adventure story, perfect for fans of Coraline. Great, sounds good. I also have on here The Polar Bear Explorers Club by by Alex Bell. I know this is a favorite of Jade from Jade Ray Reads, and I don't know that much about it other than that it's polar fantasy, it's explorers. I have this an audiobook from Scribd as well. I have also here A Place Called Perfect by Helen Duggan, which is another one that I heard about from Jade Ray Reads channel. And they're all out to like protect your town. The Town Called Perfect, A Place Called Perfect. I have both a physical copy and an audiobook available. I'll probably read the physical copy from my library. It's not a physical copy, it's an ebook, but like the ebook, not the audiobook. Another one that's available on Scribd as an audiobook is The Last Chance Hotel by Nikki Thornton. It looks creepy, mysterious. It's a vibe I'm really loving. Adventure stories and creepy mystery stuff in middle grade. I like they're so great. So I don't know much about the details of this one, but it looks like that. Another adventure-y one I'm interested in reading is called Cogheart by Peter Bund. And this looks like a like steampunky kind of middle grade. One that April's students recommended to her was The Lost Twin, which is the first book in the Scarlet and Ivy series by Sophie Cleverly. Again, I have this available on Scribd. I know very little. It says, this is the story of how I became my sister. A spine-tingling mystery set in a creepily atmospheric boarding school. We also have Nooks and Crannies by Jessica Lawson, which is described as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory meets Clue. And The Problem Children by Natalie Lloyd, which says, with a dash of lemony snicket, a dollop of the Addams Family, and a hearty dose of adventure. I think they're a bunch of orphans. An unforgetting tale of adventure, family, and finding the courage to face any problem heart first. Aww. I also want to read by Sophie Anderson, The House with Chicken Legs, which is a Baba Yaga kind of story, which it comes highly recommended from like Gav and Jade and everybody. I think Paige might also be reading this during the readathon, so we might buddy read it maybe. I also want to listen to The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland and Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine Valente. I have this out from, I used my credit on Audible to get this. So I'll be listening to the audiobook of this. It's an adventure story and I've been enjoying Catherine Valente's adult stuff, so I wanted to try out this as well. I also have on this list The Train to Impossible Places by PG Bell. I don't know much about this, but it looks like a fun adventure story. I gotta go eat lunch in a second, so let's make this quick. Yeah, again, I don't really know much about this, but it looks fun. That's available on audiobook from Scribd. I also have here The Infinite Lives of Daisy May, which I know it just looks so mysterious and good. It's by Christopher Edge. It says, how do you know you really exist? It's Maisie's birthday and she can't wait to open her presents. She's hoping for the things she needs to build her own nuclear reactor, but she wakes to an empty house and outside the front door is nothing but a terrifying, all-consuming blackness. That sounds creepy. It's short, so I'll definitely be reading this. Almost definitely. And finally, we have His Name Was Walter by Emily Rodda, who I love. This is another mystery. I didn't want to go into the details too much, but I think it has a bunch of orphans and a mystery element, and I think it's also got a story within a story. So there's a lot of other things I also have on like a list of middle grades I eventually want to read, but they're like the ones that I think that I wrote down with the plan that I could like actually get to. So we're going to prioritize all of those. If somehow, that's like 30 something books. If somehow we get through all of those within the 2 weeks, which will never happen, then there's others on my list that I would pick up, but it's never going to happen. So those are the books I'm planning to read for Believeathon. Let me know down below what books you'll be reading for Believeathon. If you've got a TBR, link it for me if you've got it somewhere. And otherwise, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!